though, Sarah Hunter on the right, the captain of England. Opposite her, Gaël Mignot from Montpellier, the captain of the French women's team. A special moment for all these women. England's women playing their 16th Test match here at the headquarters of English rugby. So we've got all the pyrotechnics before the match. And with these two sides going toe-to-toe, I think it would be reasonable to expect that we will experience much the same over the course of the next hour and a half or so. First though, let's sit back and enjoy the anthems.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the national anthems, led by England's official anthem singer, Laura Wright.
Marseillaise rings around Twickenham for the second time today. Shall we? Starting with England and their focus sharply on the Sevens format in 2016, and with a Six Nations title long overdue, coach Simon Middleton has picked his strongest available side, led by the World Player of the Year, Sarah Hunter. The most significant absentee is the loose forward Alex Matthews because of concussion. On the plus side, Amber Reid returns after missing the entire November series. A significantly altered France side to that which won last year's Six Nations. There's been an overhaul to the management, and that's reflected in the starting lineup. The front five largely intact, with the captain Gaël Mignot and hooker. Caroline Landagnoos is one to keep an eye on. The outside centre has been a France international for almost a decade. On to the replacements. Vicky Fleetwood and Rachel Burford have more than 100 caps between them for England. Céline Ferrer is one of two Bayonne players on the France bench. So the moments before kick-off, always nervous moments, but when we look at England, 994 caps spread across the 23 players. That is experience by anyone's definition. The referee is Amy Perrott, something of a trailblazer herself. She was the first female official to be involved in the officiating of a Super Rugby match a couple of years ago, a match involving the Melbourne Rebels and the Stormers of South Africa. So the vast spaces, the verdant green turf of Twickenham awaits. And this for these two sides, two of the best in the world, going cheek by jowl. First catch there from Laura Keats. Laura Keats earning her 57th cap. And Catherine, that's a real feature of this England side. Almost 1,000 caps.
I know, it's impressive, isn't it? It's probably the most experienced side they've put out for a number of years, and it really does count in matches like this. I know it's back when Gary Street was head coaching, it was something that he really focused on, you know, gaining that experience, and actually we're reaping the rewards now. A lot of those players came through that time, so they're going to need that experience today. But you know, we've still got a few young guns out there coming up and lighting up this pitch, hopefully.
Roll!
So the first line out, and there's a throw from Amy Cockayne. Cockayne's a player who almost ended up playing for New Zealand at one point. Moved over to New Zealand as a youngster, but really in her heart she was always English, and when she looked like she was getting to the level where she could play international rugby, she really made that choice, having spent time actually in the Silver Ferns camp. She has, and she's a fantastically skillful player, and Anaya's been working hard on her fitness, and it's nice to see her in the starting two shirt today, and she can be a real star for England. Natasha Hunt there at scrum half. She's one of the Olympians in this England squad. Katie McLean is another. The ball slapped on there by Emily Scarrett. Danielle Waterman in the line. I mean, she was a young lady, really was, who was born to play rugby. Her father played more than 200 times for Bath back in the 70s. There's McLean. Another carry there from Laura Keats. So England getting the ball through hand early. Referee playing an advantage here. Back the other way, that was Amber Reid. Good to see her back. Just for a moment, a slight hint of an overlap out wide, but we'll come back to the penalty.
Wrong side of the tackle,
yeah,
she must
quite
roll.
a pleasing start, isn't it, for England, really? Slight error at the line out, but they retained possession of the ball, and they got going forward and looking to spread it wide. And already we see the benefit of Amber Reid in 12, actually. She's played a lot at 10. So with Katie at 10, Amber Reid at 12, you know, we're definitely going to get that ball out wide.
Catherine Spencer, England captain, retired from the game 6 years ago now. The game's moved on a bit since those days. I mean, no disrespect. I mean, has it moved on since the days of mud, maul and mascara?
I like your reference there, Martin. For those of you who don't know, that's the title of my book that I'm writing at the moment.
It tells your life story, doesn't it? So please don't take any offence. Those are Catherine's own words.
Absolutely, and kind of my life story in the context of women's sport and women's rugby. Yes, it has changed. Obviously, a big thing we're talking about today is that England women 15s are fully professional, and I'm sure we'll chat more about that through this game.
Amy Wilson-Hardy there taking it into the contact. There's McLean. Oh, it's stolen. There's a real chance here for France. Well, they've been on the back foot pretty much all the time so far, and sprinting away. That's a tremendous effort from Jenna Nizar, and Nizar is going to get the opening score from nothing. She saw it coming. She pounced. And the young lady from Lille, right up in the northeast corner of France, gets the first try, and that's pretty much the first time a French woman has had her hand on the ball.
It is, isn't it? I think the first possession's such a shame, and obviously the pass went to the wrong hands, and there's a certain skill, isn't there? The interception is something I never quite mastered, and she's quite a big winger, Izar, but she's a very much a threat, and they would have been a player that they would have watched. So it's a shame for England because they've had a really good start, but you know, they've got to pick their heads up now. It's opening minutes, you know, that's one try gone, but you know, they'll get back into this game, carry on where they left off, and get back down into French quarters.
Christelle Leduff, the fly half. She has the kicking duties. 4 minutes gone. France with the lead. And just glancing off the left-hand upright. Decent strike, but there's the try scorer, Shannon Izar.
Real shame. It looked like Nolly had a bit of space there, and she only needs inches of space to make ground on this rugby pitch.
So McLean, another former England captain in the parish tonight. Ball goes backwards, says the referee, Amy Perrott. Stepping into play scrum half, there was Emily Scarrett. She earns her 62nd cap. Really is no substitute for that sort of experience. There's McLean. Actually led the England side to that World Cup triumph at the Jean-Bouin Stadium against Canada. England looking to repeat that in Ireland this year, the World Cup, which will be taking place in August. Very neat little break, making additional metres. France not defending the fringes. That was Natasha Hunt, another of the Olympians in this England side, but then England are penalised.
It's a shame, yeah, lovely little break from Natasha. That's what she does best. You see France are getting straight back on their feet at those breakdowns. They're not putting the bodies in, but they're leaving gaps behind the breakdown, and that's something that England are going to want to utilise and threaten. But Natasha Hunt, really exciting player, and she'll be key for England today.
Yes, that sniping run. Very quick thinker. We saw that in Rio at the Olympic Games when she was responsible time and again for maintaining the momentum and the tempo for England. So there he is, Simon Middleton, head coach. So much in terms of anticipation and expectations for England in the women's game. Serious business, always has been, but more so when big budgets are involved. We've now got 32 contracted players for England, full-time rugby players.
Absolutely, full-time rugby players in camp, training alongside each other, and you know, with that becomes certain expectation and different sort of pressures. So it'll be interesting to see how the players manage that and how the management team deal with that.
Marjorie Mayence, the target in the line out there for France. She used to play at centre, has been converted into a back row forward since coming back from the Sevens programme.
Whistle, forward. Sorry, forward.
Forward pass there from France. That was Elodie Poublin.
Unlucky, it was a lovely little offload there. It was a bit, very close. Quite a harsh call that, I think.
Elodie Poublin plays a club rugby for Montpellier, one of the powerhouses not only of women's rugby in France but men's as well. So 7 minutes gone at Twickenham. France leading England by 5 points to 0. Look at the power there of that French pack. Always been a part of the game, which is the strength of it characterised the men's game in France, so too the women's, but that was a very well judged kick.
That was a fantastic kick, and it just shows the breadth of Natasha Hunt's game now. She can snipe, she can run with the ball, she's got great footwork. That kick to the corner was any international will be proud of that. Absolutely fantastic kick.
So crucial here that Gail Mignot finds her teammate. England competing for that well though. They may well have turned it there. Well, effectively they have, because they will have the put in at the scrum.
Yeah, good pressure from Harriet Miller-Mills there. And the lifters as well, Tamara, and I think it's Sunta there. It's not all about the jumper, but really putting pressure in there, really being aggressive and not giving France any free ball, any easy ball.
The big hand there of Harriet Miller-Mills, the Litchfield player, helping turn that over. So what an attacking platform this is. The narrowest of narrow sides. Lurking there is Lydia Thompson though, wearing 14, just out of the picture. Picked up by the captain. It is there for England. Another little pick up and go, Natasha Hunt. Just offloading there, that was the captain Sarah Hunter. Marley Packer this time, but being driven back. Powerful France defence. England anxious here to hit back after that early setback. You do have to say they have dominated possession and territory, despite what the scoreline says. Well, I think that Amy Cockayne may have picked up a bit of a knock there when she was trying to shovel it on to Lydia Thompson.
I'm sure she'll run that off, that she'll be fine. But that would have, it was the right decision, wasn't it, to try and get that pass out. And England were quite clever there. They picked the ball. They went. I was just thinking they'd done too many picks, but they knew what they were doing. They're creating that space on that blind side, keeping those players out there, and it just wasn't quite executed that time.
France there with a shortened line out into the hands of Jade Lepesque. Another player showing her versatility. She used to play in the midfield, but at scrum half now. England sent scrambling back. We're through the opening 10 minutes at Twickenham. France leading by 5 points to 0. Natasha Hunt under pressure. The French marshalling the fringes well. And from Hunt to McLean. On to Amber Reid. Getting wrapped up there in the midfield. The French have turned it. Jessie Cremoulière, the fullback, kicks into space. Across comes Daniel Waterman. Rather fooled by the bounce there, well followed up by Lodi Guiguillon.
Yeah, this is why the basics in rugby are so important. Amber going just losing control of the ball in the tackle, and with Tremoulière's boots, which is an impressive one. France are right back in England 22.
Yes, Elodie Poublin responsible for that turnover. Poublin, who played for France in that Six Nations decider at Vannes. Marley Packer presenting it. Natasha Hunt back into position at scrum half. Impressive carry that time from Harriet Miller-Mills.
You're outside!
England being told they're outside the 22, so they can't go directly for touch. Well put down by Safi Undié. Well chased by McLean. France back in position though. That was Audrey Falani in the second row for France. France penalised for coming off their feet. Well, a decent crowd have stayed on to watch England's and France's women. One or two perhaps have just come here specifically to see the women. Ireland had a bit of a misfiring start last night in Scotland. They trailed for virtually all of the match before coming back to take all 5 points against the Scots. But these two of the favoured teams in the women's game. Hunt goes backwards. McLean just fumbling a little bit untidy there from England. Well, a change of direction. They will have a numerical advantage here. Driven on up to the France 22. Here's McLean, on to Reid. Change of direction there, Emily Scarrett. The full back in the line, Daniel Waterman. A bit of help there from Lydia Thompson. Carry that time from Marley Packer. Packer who plays her rugby for the Bristol club, which really is the spine of this England team, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting to say that actually. I was looking at this England squad sheet earlier, and there's not a single player from a London club in the starting 15, and I don't know if that's ever happened before, and it shows the development, I guess, of women's rugby throughout the country. Bristol are the form team at the moment. I've got a bit of a soft spot for them, having played for them for a couple of seasons, and fortunate enough, lucky enough to play alongside both Marley and Izzy when they were youngsters, and I was trying to teach them a few lessons. But Bristol are really the form team, and Marley is one of those really exciting players from there.
Yes, Marley Packer and Izzy Noel-Smith, the two loose forwards, or two of the three, alongside Sarah Hunter. Good line-out ball there from France again. Their new coaching setup led by Samuel Charouk, who's from the Clermont Espoirs, the academy side, if you like, at Clermont-Auvergne. Big gap appearing, and she's there again, is Shannon Izar. One try already. Up to the England 22. Getting the ball through the hands, that was Undié, but the ball goes to ground. Well, the warning signs have been posted up for England. Shannon Izar, one try already. An incision in the England defence that time. France concede the penalty.
Yeah, they've got to be careful there. They've come off their feet at the breakdown a couple of times, and Perrett, she's an experienced referee, as you say. She's not going to miss any of that there. But you know, France playing some good rugby there. Shows what danger they can be when they get in a bit of space, and a clever inside pass there. I think a couple of the England forwards just misjudged that slightly.
It is a very powerful French midfield with Elodie Poublin and Caroline Landagnous. And as we've seen, Shannon Izar with those running lines could prove a real handful for England tonight. McLean looking for some space, turns to Moulier. Well, did she come out of the 22 there? Looked very close. Well, she hasn't quite found touch. Good catch. Very nimble from Natasha Hunt. Gets through the first tackle, but then the ball is lost forward. Powerful French drive over halfway.
No advantage, lost forward by White. Scrum back here.
Sarah Hunter actually did pretty well there in that ball. I know France have got the ball back, but she just managed to get a hand on there and stop that quick ball coming out, because France were just getting some real good forward momentum again, weren't they? But it's those things by forwards that sometimes unseen, you know. Look at her work through the middle, keep pushing, keep working, and stop that quick ball.
You've got time, so.
That was good from Natasha Hunt there up against the touchline. Clearly very aware of just where that touchline is.
Absolutely, and she's always been a player with quite impressive footwork, and that's been obviously honed over the last couple of years when she's been off with sevens and building into the Olympics. And one of the things interesting about the season is how those sevens players come back in. And on that note, I hopefully if she gets the ball, it'll be interesting to see how Amy Wilson-Hardy does. She's played more sevens than she has 15s at international level. I'm really looking forward to seeing her hopefully get the ball in hand.
Yes, this is her first cap, Amy Wilson-Hardy, for 4 years. Scored her only test try so far on her debut back in 2013 against South Africa.
Okay, you ready?
She certainly was a live wire in Rio at the Olympic Games.
Okay, here you go.
And although it was a Great Britain team, it was essentially England. There was a Wales player in that dozen, wasn't there?
Yeah, dominated by England really. But yeah, it's one Welsh player in there. But, these England players have played a lot together in the sevens.
So Jade Lepesque with the put in. The pick up from Undié. Lepesque again. Out there to the fly half, that's Ledouf. Cross comes Waterman.
lovely player. And Dio, she's always been a real powerhouse, but she's got some nice skill to her game as well, and good linking up with Poublan at 12 there provides a real dangerous attacking platform there. And as a former number 8 myself, it's always nice, always focus on that position, and the advantages of using that pick-up from the scrum. It's nice to see it rather than just going for a penalty.
Well, I'm not sure that line-out quite went like it should have done, but Tamara Taylor found the ball in her hands, earning a 99th cap for England today.
Taken back. 9.
Ball taken back into the 22, so Emily Scarrett couldn't go over touch. The catch there from Tremoulière, well followed up by Danielle Waterman, pinning the French back just on the wrong side for them of halfway. There's Undier. Here's the try scorer, Izard. Lepesque. Well, you have to say the French are playing with good tempo. That carry from Fulani. That was Marjorie Mayons.
Correct call there from Perret. The ball just got stuck underneath there and wasn't released. It's not, when the ball can't be competed at the breakdown, that's when the penalty has to occur there. It's trying to get the ball through her legs there and couldn't manage it. So it's the correct call from the ref.
We have mentioned that Six Nations decider in Vannes, up in Brittany, right up in the northwest of France, at the end of the last Six Nations. But since then, England have beaten France on 2 occasions. First of all, in Salt Lake City in the United States, and after that across the road at the Twickenham Stoop in November. But it is a very different France side, something which has an awful lot to do with that change of management. There was some bloodletting in French rugby towards the end of last season. Tied up there by Lydia Thompson. Taken forward by Emily Scarrett. Scarrett, one of the try scorers in that World Cup final against Canada at the Stade Jean-Bouin in Paris. There's Emily Scarrett from good Leicestershire farming stock, isn't she?
She is indeed. She's a fantastic player, Scarrett. From when she burst onto the scene, she started playing senior rugby, international rugby, 18, 19. She missed out under 20s, but she was so mature then, and she is now. And there's so much expectation and pressure on her shoulders now, but she just performs well every time she runs out to that pitch, whether it's 7s, whether it's 15s. She's a real star, I think, and someone I love playing alongside.
Excellent sporting background as well, not just rugby. I think she was a good basketball player. I think she could have gone on a scholarship to the States, couldn't she?
Absolutely, one of those really annoying people that's good at everything, and it's really nice too, even more annoying. But yeah, she's very talented, very skillful sports person, and now, as we see, lining up for the kick.
So straight in front, somewhere in the region of 36 metres out. Just pulling it around the left hand upright. Tends to happen when you're maybe just trying to find that extra metre or so. So England yet to open their account. France leading. Rather against the flow of play though. Shannon Izard, the left wing, with the interception try. Scuttling fully 75 or 80 metres up the pitch to score. McLean. Well turned again, rather too easily there by the French. Izard rocked on her heels there, decided to kick it forward. Here's Waterman, going across field, cut down though by Ménager. From Tamara Taylor, her 99th cap, going to join the Centurions club. Rocky Clark, Rochelle Clark at loose head tonight for England, her 118th cap. The most capped prop ever in English rugby, and I include Jason Leonard in that. Hunt, bit of a miscue. Well caught by Lodi Poublin. There it is for Lepesque. Chooses to work the short side. Change direction from Audrey Folani. Lepesque again. Powerful carry forward that time from Ménager. Neat little inside ball. Do have to admire the tempo of the French.
Yeah, they're really trying to keep the pace on it, aren't they? And they brought players into the back line really, really well. They need to. They're using that mauled platform and dying out there again, showing her skills as well as her strength.
The carry there from Julie Duval, the tight head. Look how determined she is taking play within sight of the England 22. That was a bit of a loose pass, but eventually it goes to hand, the hand of Lene Courson. Ball presented there for Lepesque. Little dummy and a dart herself. They need a scrum half. Christelle Leduff is going to occupy the role. Ooh, Ndiaye, I think she lost it forward. That was a little bit clumsy.
Lost it at the back, lost ball.
Safi Ndiaye learned her rugby in Castres, that lovely little French town about an hour outside Toulouse.
France have used that inside pass a few times now, haven't they? So England have got to be aware of that in defence and try and close that up a little bit, because they've made ground every time they've used it.
Samuel Sharif, there he is, the head coach of France. His day job in the academy at Clermont-Auvergne. The manager of the team, Annie Kego,
Don't lean in. Okay? Hold your body weight.
One of the greats of women's rugby in France. She's the manager of the ASM club. That's the club funded by Michelin, the same as Clermont-Auvergne, which is the men's division. The women's club just outside Clermont-Ferrand, ASM Romagna. This is just to the south of Clermont. That was well picked up by Poublin. Just drifting across field, they have to straighten things up. Emily Scarrett caught a bit of a ride for a moment. Good hands again from France, but look at the line speed from England, it's good. They're looping around, and there goes Leduff feeding the ball out wide to Guiglion. Great step. Tackle, perhaps a little bit high, but no malice involved. France still going within 3 metres of the England line. They need quick ball. Referee says the ball's available. On there to Leduff. Here's Ndiaye. Trundles forward. The carry this time from Ménager. In the shadow of the England post. The alarm bells ringing for the women in white. Penalty advantage.
Yeah, it's a bit of a worry for England, isn't it? That platform at the scrum is not there for them at the moment. That's what's allowing France this possession in the England 22. But prior to that, it all started with a lost ball in contact again. These basic, a couple of basic mistakes from England have given France possession and territory.
After having focused for 2 or 3 years on the sevens format, which really was where, in terms of the ambition and the priorities for England, is it perhaps reasonable to expect this England 23 to take a while to gel?
Possibly, but a number of these players that have been out with sevens have been playing alongside each other in 15s a long time before that. They're in training camp all the time now, and yeah, possibly it's going to be a tough challenge, and they're not far out from the World Cup, so they're going to have to gel pretty quickly.
Well, Christelle Leduff just about got hold of enough of that before she slipped over.
She fell over in style. That's something that backs can do quite well, isn't it?
Now, that's spoken like a true number 8.
Exactly, yes.
I was going to ask you at some point if the same rifts that exist between forwards and backs in the men's game are similar in the women's. I think you've already answered that one for me.
Absolutely, without a doubt, you know. It's got to be there. Forwards have got to have their fun somehow.
Yes, we talked about England being in camp. England women's rugby based at Bisham Abbey, which over the years has been the home for the England men's football team for many years. Many of the players essentially live there these days. Lovely spot in Marlow, alongside the Thames. Ball there in the possession of Gaël Mignou. Well, that was muscular. Bit of space here for France. Very crisp handling again, and then at space, Landagnus, who can really fly. Well, the hand just getting in there from Lydia Thompson, and that was a telling touch.
Forward, into touch.
Lydia Thompson saving the day there for England. That was fantastic play by France, wasn't it? The offloading at speed, being so aware of the players next to them. And that was, Molly won't enjoy watching that in video analysis, I can tell you.
Well, there may have been some sort of mini revolution within the French camp over Christmas. There was even a suggestion at some point there was a bit of a standoff between players and coach. The previous coach, Jean-Michel Gonzalez, former France international, a man from down in the Basque Country. He was coaching the men's side for quite a while at Biarritz. Well, after winning the Six Nations last year, his term in charge came to an end. Annick Hego became the team manager, fulfilling the role that she previously held 3 years earlier. She brought in her own team. But at the moment, you'd have to say, all those moves fully justified. France warming to their task.
It's your ball.
Absolutely, France look like the team that have been playing together a lot of rugby, you know. They seem to be sort of flowing well together, aware of where they are, and England, as obvious it sounds, need to get this ball back. You know, they started off really well at the beginning of this match.
Yes, they won a couple of test matches against the United States at the end of the November series. But the changes made by the new management, well, just 7 of those who started the second test victory against the United States on from the first whistle here. And the sheer power of that France pack.
Number 1.
The French leading in the contact, leading at the breakdown, and also in the set piece.
Yeah, absolutely, and those French forwards again, and you know, over the last few years, last sort of 3-4 years, that's been their platform, that's been a consistent strength of theirs, and kind of led by Safi and Dai, and they kind of gel around her, and Gail at hooker as well, the captain. It's formidable, but you know, England have had that in the past. They've had their powerhouse in the forwards, and they've got to really step up. Rocky there, Rochelle Clark. She's got, you know, this is where all her experience has got to tell, and she's got to get a bit of that aggression, and to use a highly technical word, England need to get a bit of dog out in this game now.
A very crisp set piece again from the French. The ball in the hands of the captain, Gaël Mignou. Here is that drive, and it's virtually unstoppable. They're over the line, they've got the ball down. The referee awards the score, and it's all France in this opening half hour now.
I think it's none other than Gaël Mignon, the captain, and she, you know, she's become such a solid leader for France, and fantastic player, always there in the mix, and loves scoring tries from the back of driving mauls.
Well, Gaël Mignon was the joint top try scorer in last season's championship with 4. She's got her first try of the 2007 championship after half an hour. France halfway to the try bonus point.
England struggling in their scrums and line-outs at the moment, not going too well for them. Matt Ferguson, forwards coach, really needs to be looking at that and seeing how they can turn that round. So without that platform, they're going to struggle.
Well, she didn't quite get hold of all of that. Foot just slipped a little under the ball. But 13 points to 0. England ranked number 2 in the world. France are ranked 4. there is just a chance, and I stress just a chance, that if France were to win tonight, emphatically, those two positions could switch around. England could conceivably drop to 4th and France up to 2nd in the world rankings. Ball lost forward there.
Whistle, whistle. Lost forward. Came forward.
It's Marjorie Mayence, who plays her club rugby for Blognac, which is on the outskirts of Toulouse. Still remains the heart of rugby, certainly at grassroots level in France, although the growth of rugby around the big cities in France, which we see in the men's game, is also being reflected in the women's as well, with the likes of Lille, which is not really good old-fashioned rugby country up there in the northeast corner. The Lille club well represented here. Bobigny is also another powerful French women's club. That on the outskirts of Paris. Here's McLean, on to Scarrett. Just catching a bit of a ride there was Ladagnous. Talking about catching a ride, Caroline Ladagnous. Ladagnous' brother is a Tour de France cyclist, competed in the Tour a couple of years ago, also twice in the Olympic Games in the road race. 6 minutes to go to half-time, and once again the ball coughed forward, but a good charge down there from Amy Cockayne. So France living a little dangerously. Lodi Poublin hoofs it away, taken by Lydia Thompson. Chance to have a bit of a run. Look at the speed with which the blue jerseys there come up, all as a line, well coordinated. Natasha Hunt. There is Cockayne. Plays a club rugby in the Midlands for Lichfield. On to Marley Packard. McLean. Here's the captain, carry from Sarah Hunter. Playing for England for the 86th time. Just 4 players have played more Test rugby than Sarah Hunter, that's for England. Lack of precision again from England. England finding themselves a little isolated, and Safi Undié there, the player from Castres, who now plays her club rugby not that far away in Montpellier, forcing the penalty.
Absolutely, again, just some errors creeping up in that breakdown area, losing ball in contact, and not a lot of times, 3 times it's happened though, but they've been quite significant.
Jessie Twemoulier, the fullback, another of the players from the
Keep coming.
ASM club, Clermont-Auvergne, the women's division at Romagnac. One of the coaches in the women's team at Clermont is Martin Scalzo, who you might remember playing in the front row for Argentina a few years ago. Earned a lot of caps for the Pumas. Played his club rugby for the men's club at Clermont. Here's Tremoulier, right on cue. One of the 2 Clermont players in this starting 15.
Unfortunate for France there, lucky for England, just creeping out into touch. Their handling's looking lovely now, France, really crisp. Lovely wide, lovely flat pass there, but just running a bit sideways, and I think it's Emily Scarrett managing to just get the tackle out into touch.
I was mentioning a little earlier that England's women playing for the 16th time at Twickenham. There's only one side who've ever beaten them here, it's France, and they've done it twice. 2013, 2015. When you consider it's 2017 now, there's the potential for a bit of a sequence there.
I mean, France are a good team, you know. England have got to play well to beat them.
Tom Wood bearing the scars of battle. Very tough 80 minutes against France's men today.
Absolutely, Wood was everywhere in that game, and Marley Packer's going to have to live up to that today for the women.
So Here's the captain, Gaël Mignou. Fired down at the scrum half, Jade Lepesque. Oh dear, that was a little bit clumsy from Christelle Leduc.
Now, general play. That was general play. Cross forward.
Just as we were saying, the French handling was very, very crisp. That was an unforced error.
Yes, commentator's curse there, wasn't it?
But they do say that if you play with tempo, play with speed, then you can also play with width, and that's what the French are doing.
Thanks, Bob. Crouch. Hold up, hold up. Yeah. Leaning in, no more. Crouch. Bind. Set. Hold.
Once again, the power from that French pack, but England do come away with it. Last 90 seconds of the first half. Daniel Waterman just shoveling the ball on to Amber Reid. Reid, another of those players from the Bristol club. Here's Emily Scarrett, gets the long levers going. She's on her own though. Well, she went to ground, but she's got some support, Natasha Hunt, and it almost went to the hand there of Amy Wilson-Hardy.
Cross forward.
Well, it was a one-woman effort, wasn't it, from Emily Scarrett?
It was. England was struggling to get the ball back from the breakdown, too high in contact there, but Skaz saw a break, went for it, saw the gap. Lovely skill there, just couldn't quite stay on her feet, and unfortunately just a little knock on there from Amy, but great vision from Emily.
With a little bit more luck, that could have gone to the hand of Amy Wilson-Hardy.
Bind. Set.
It's almost certainly the final play of the first half. England playing 3 games at home in this season's championship. The other 2 will be across the road at the Twickenham Stoop. If you're not familiar with the geography in these parts, we've got the Chertsey Road, which separates
Bind.
this ground, Twickenham,
Set.
from the home of Harlequins, the Twickenham Stoop. So the text there with the foot in. Ndiaye fumbling it forward there. I thought the referee was playing an advantage to England there. And in the end, she's awarded a penalty. A little bit untidy that from France. All they had to do was go through the set piece, which they've dominated up to now, and just simply get the ball into touch. But they've handed an unlikely opportunity here for England.
Absolutely, it looks like Katie's wanting to go for touch. A bit of discussion there about what they do in this. Is there time for the line out? I think that's what Katie's asking at the moment. And it looks like no time for the line out, so rather than going for pace, it's like England are going for the scrum.
Okay, you stay straight.
So England handed an unlikely opportunity to get their first points. Guinoves, he stayed on to watch the women. An encouraging performance from the French men today. Things beginning to grow under Guinoves. The power again of that France scrum. The pick up from the captain, Sarah Hunter. England about 15 metres out. Taken on there by Marley Packer. Penalty advantage being played here. Here's Natasha Hunt, just pops it up. It's a free throw effectively for England this. They got the penalty. McLean there with a cross kick. Scarrett's waiting for it, and it just had a little bit too much on it. But we will go back for the penalty.
Thanks. Ball blue.
Penalty against Lene Corson.
unlucky. It was a fair decision then, wasn't it, with Emily Scarrett out there, towering over the other backs, just overcooked from Katie.
Yes, just half a club too many, wasn't it?
Keep an eye on this side, and keep an eye on this one.
Well, there we go, Baptiste Serrin there on the left, Scott Spedding in the middle,
Up.
and on the right, Remé Lamara.
Crouch. Bind. Yep. Fair point, fair point.
So almost 3 minutes into overtime in this first half. England yet to score a point.
Crouch.
And you have to say, Catherine, they've been in reverse gear in the scrums, haven't they?
They have. It is worrying, and at the moment they're getting the ball because Sarah Hunter's doing a job at the back of the scrum and managing to clear it out, and forwards are going to have to thank her at the end of this, so they really need to look at that at half-time and just see if they can get some forward momentum.
Well, destroyed again there by France. The ball's gone forward. France will just want to get the ball into touch here, which is exactly what Christelle Leduc does. And, well, they were on the back foot for the first few minutes, but then that try from Shannon Izar really saw the momentum shift, and France got better and better throughout that first half. They lead England by 13 points to 0. Well, England started off with plenty of purpose, a lot of early possession, Catherine, but it really was that first try, wasn't it? Seized on by Shannon Izar. Since then, you'd have to say the French just haven't looked back.
Absolutely. When France gained that bit of confidence through that interception try, completely against the run of play, and they seem to have built on that through the half, and they've just got better and better, and they look like they're enjoying themselves out there. And England looked a little bit lost, if you like, in the first half, and they're really suffering from lacking that set piece at the moment and that clean platform.
Yes, rather the hackneyed question, the cliched line is, what can Simon Middleton have done during the last 10 minutes or so to turn things around? But when you are in reverse in the set piece, it's very, very difficult to try and fathom how they can make things better.
It's very difficult, isn't it? You can't just find, can't find weight from somewhere, you can't find pounds of strength from somewhere. But England have just got to, a bit like France, have just got to gain confidence from something. Someone has got to step up and do something and provide that front foot for the rest of the team.
Well, that was a bit of a miscue of the outside of the boot from just outside the 22, so it'll be an England line out.
We'll see how they go with this line out. They've sort of been winning ball but struggling with the delivery from the top of the line out down to Natasha.
We look at this England side, experience everywhere. Almost 1,000 caps between the 23. Emily Scarrett, one of the players who without a doubt can give that little injection of something. We saw that in the last 10 minutes of the first half. McLean, well taken at speed, that by Tamara Taylor. Natasha Hunt. Here's McLean, the former England captain. Here is the current England captain, Sarah Hunter. Hunt, McLean, out there from Amber Reid. Here's Scarrett again. The change of direction, getting through the first tackle but not the second. McLean again. A little rumble forward from Laura Keats, the Worcester Valkyrie. Oh, well shoveled on, that was brilliant from Reid. And the offload, Amy Wilson-Hardy. There was nobody inside. It's certainly much better in this opening 90 seconds of the second half, but we look at figures here, bags of experience for England. Who are the players who do have the ability, who must take the responsibility to turn things around for England?
Yeah, I mean, there's one there, isn't it? Sarah Hunter. She's got the responsibility as captain, but she can start taking that ball forwards. And but you say it's the players with experience, like Tamara Taylor actually. But there's some of the less experienced players that can make a difference. The Harriet Miller-Mills that can take that ball on, that can run through, And Amber Reid, their lovely hands there. They've got their lift up. They're all international players. They're all professional players now. They've all got to do a job on the pitch.
Well, Amy Wilson-Hardy losing that just a little bit in the lights. Very good clearing kick, under a bit of pressure from Jade Lepesque.
She just completely misjudged it then, didn't she? It was unfortunate.
Well, the throw misdirected.
Playing advantage.
And England turn it over. McLean. Good bend as well to take play inside the 22. The arm is out from the referee.
Come all the way around.
So 3 minutes gone in the second half, trailing by 13. You go for the points, don't you?
You do. I was frantically waving my arms there, kind of urging Natasha Mohunt to kind of take it quickly. Then France were at back 10, but actually right in front of the post, they've got to get the points, and then it'll be 10 points behind, get some confidence. They've got to take the opportunities being in the France 22. They have had territory there, they have had possession there.
Well, England have been in good form recently. Their only defeat in the last 6 matches was at the hands of New Zealand across the road at the Stoop. Scarrett, page number 62nd international for England. It's taken almost 44 minutes, but now they're on the board. Not quite a smile for Simon Middleton, but at least he can relax a little bit now.
110.
Will those first points inspire England to a comeback? Offload there from Romain Ménager, not going to hand, and France in reverse, but the referee playing an advantage here. Lepesque, a dummy, and the gap opens. Doesn't get past Natasha Hunt though, eventually brought to ground. There's the first try scorer, Izar, burrowing away with the ball onto Ndiaye. Oh, and well taken by Landagnoos, who's in space here, and she's got real pace, but that was a glorious tackle from Danielle Waterman. A try-saving tackle.
Release, please.
But France showing there again just how dangerous they are. Well, the eye's up, and the ball goes down from Romain Ménager.
Yeah. Just be very, very careful there.
Lovely little break from Jade Lepesque, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Marley, she was trying to get on the front foot, she was trying to put pressure on, and just in that fringe defence around the breakdown, she pushed up, and Lepesque just saw that gap and went through, and Scarrett tried to go to the interception, didn't get it. A lovely tackle from Nolly. Those of you watching, youngsters out there, that's what you need to go low, be brave, and go for that tackle, and as you say, it was try-saving.
We talk about the decisions that players make, experienced players there like Emily Scarrett. If they are going to go for the intercept, they know they have to get it, don't they?
Absolutely, and well, yeah, if she got it, it would be amazing, but yeah, it's a risky thing to do, isn't it? It's a risky choice, and then luckily Nolly was there to help her out when she missed it.
Lost your feet.
So Katie McLean plays a club rugby up in Darlington. It's been a tough day, hasn't it, being an England number 8?
As a number 8, your heart sinks slightly when you get to the first scrum and you go backwards, because you know it's going to be a very, very different type of match than being a number 8 on the back of a forward scrum is just lovely. But Sarah Hunter, that's something she's developed so well. She does control that ball well at the scrum.
Is that good?
That's the halfway line.
Let it come. Hands away.
Sarah Hunter, little pick and go from the captain. Getting little change out of the French defensive line at the moment, England. On here to Marley Packer. Referee playing an advantage now for a high tackle from France. There's Laura Keats. McLean. Amber Reid. Reid back in the side after a period out with injury. Taken forward by Laura Keats. That's Harriet Miller-Mills. Amber Reid.
What's forward, no advantage.
I
There's a
think
high
we're going to
tackle
come
there,
back
okay?
to the high tackle over on this side of the pitch.
A high tackle. Do you have
I think it was Elodie Guiglielmo
14.
who was
High
responsible.
tackle.
There she is.
Yeah, she does start low on the tackle, but then she comes up, you know. That's the key now this season. Got to be really careful. Any contact in that part of the body is going to be deemed a high tackle.
It really was just a case of poor
That's
technique
3 in a
really
row
that
now.
time, wasn't it?
A bit more discipline
Absolutely.
from your team, okay?
Referee Amy Perrott just having a word in the ear of the France captain, Gaël Mignot. So Amy Cockayne, who returned with her family from New Zealand just 4 years ago to start her international career. What a compliment to the England setup when it's time spent with the Silver Ferns, which convinces you it's worth coming back halfway across the world to play your international rugby for your birth nation. And this is what France did to such good effect in the first half. They delivered them a try. And it's Amy Cockayne. McLean, Scarrett. England have opportunities left and right. McLean, long pass off the left hand. Daniel Waterman bursts through and gets the try. And England are back in the match.
Lovely pass out there from Katie, and Nolly had to work. She had to reach for it. She's not the tallest of full-backs, and she was very pleased with that, wasn't she? But it was a lovely flat pass out from Katie. But that all came from improved momentum from this England pack, you know, going forward, taking the ball forward and trying to suck in some of those French defenders.
Well, she knows her way to the try line. That's her 22nd in Six Nations rugby.
I'm just holding the kick, yeah. Simon, happy? Okay. Thanks.
Well, Sarah Hunter, despite the frustrations, does rather help when you've got a captain who, even at times like this, managed to find times to smile.
Sarah Hunter, I think, one of the most smiliest rugby players in the world, and she's a great person, Hunter, and she's a good leader, and she's led England well, and over the last couple of years when it's not been the easiest of times.
A lovely kick from Scarrett, and just sneaking inside the right hand upright, and those 2 points at the end may prove invaluable. 13 points to 10, France have the lead.
Okay, I know what you mean. It's not clear and obvious, yeah?
Still the best part of half an hour to go. England leading the second half by 10 points to 0. And they've just cranked things up a little notch now of England. Emily Scarrett there bursting through. There's no doubt that the pressure key has been turned an extra half screw in this second half. Katie McLean, I think, is down at the moment, just getting some treatment. Scarrett with a long pass out and then put down by Rochelle Clark.
Yeah, it's unfortunate the pass was just a little bit high, and Rocky couldn't keep hold of that. But England do seem to be like they're playing with a little bit more aggression, you know, and that's absolutely what's needed. You can't sit back at all against the French side, and they do look like they're playing with a bit of renewed confidence, which is good. It's really good to see.
I've got to see Katie McLean is back in one piece. That's where she picked up the knock. Getting a good mouthful of southwest London there.
She just headed straight into that turf, didn't she, and just fell a bit awkwardly on the ball, but she'll be fine. She's back up on her feet and back in the mix.
England's men victorious. Jack Knoll.
Set. Hold.
Well, just a little bit too quickly out of the blocks there, Marley Packer.
Like all good sevens, eh? Sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't.
Well, I guess coaches would say, if every now and again you cross the line, it does at least show that you're pushing it.
Absolutely, you know, you've got to play on the front foot, got to play there, and Marley's a player that you couldn't try and contain, you know, it would ruin her, it would ruin her style, it would ruin, she's such an instinctive player, such a natural player, you wouldn't want to take anything away from that.
Well, France preparing to make an alteration. I think it's going to be Romain Ménager who's going to come off. Julie Annery, who's stripped off and ready to go, who plays in the French capital for the Bobigny club. France orchestrating that driving maul, and it's a very good effect in the first half. The try scored by Gail Mignot. At the moment being defended well there by England. Well, there is the ball for France. Jade Lepesque just burrowing in there, getting her hands onto it. Well, the rather hopeful cross kick. And that was very well read indeed by the try scorer, Waterman. She's off and running, having called the mark. Here's Emily Scarrett. Big hoop downfield, turning to Moulier. Katie McLean. Alongside her is the captain. McLean looks up, picks her spot. Not entirely sure she found it though. Well gathered by Elodie Poublin. Across comes the captain. So Sarah Hunter, inside her 22. Feeds it to Natasha Hunt. It wasn't working with the best of angles.
Yeah, that was safe and secure, wasn't it, from Sarah Hunter to Natasha Hunt. They did play alongside each other a lot for many years at Lichfield before Centre moved to Bristol.
So here goes their alteration. Off goes Romain Ménager, on comes Julie Annery.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, time back on.
Romain Ménager, who actually has a twin sister, Marine, who played in the same team for France against the United States in November. I won't complain that commentating is the most challenging job in the world, but when you've got two identical twins in the same back row, it certainly makes it a little bit more interesting. And Agnus there with support on her shoulder. Well, England got themselves locked over the ball. That was good play from Amber Reid, among others.
Yeah, really good play from Amber there. Hands on the ball, not on the ground, which is key, and rewarding her team with a penalty. And this is what England have got to be. You know, they've got to be right up in the faces of the French. All right, you know. If they start not getting everything in their own way, they start, you know, it eats away at their confidence. And in the first half, we saw them build that confidence from that try from Izar, and it built all the way through the half. But England start eating away at that. France are not going to like it at all, and they start to play differently, and they start to react to that.
Well, England making changes, two of them. On comes Poppy Cleal, wearing 20. Also Rachel Burford brings her 60 caps onto the pitch. And they replace Izzy Noel-Smith and Amber Reid.
Back off, right.
Awkward ball to gather there for the scrum half, Natasha Hunt. Carry forward by Miller Mills. There goes the captain, Hunter. McLean. Packer. Little inside ball, and I wonder if Poppy Cleal was actually tackled before she had the ball there, but it's still England in possession going forward through Scarrett. Up to the 22. The balance of power beginning to shift in this match. That was Taylor presenting the ball. Hunt, McLean. Took a couple of grabs at that one, but then the ball goes to ground, and that was very well picked up by Elodie Poublin.
Yep.
Jade Lepesque. Leduff. Katie McLean, good positioning there from the fly half. Scarrett comes across, looks left, looks right, surveys the options. Takes the contact. Hunt, McLean. Well, the full-back Tremoulier got herself in the right position, but needed a couple of grabs at it. Gets the long limbs going. It was a very solid tackle. I think that was Poppy Cleal, wasn't it, following up?
Yeah, Poppy Cleal's a strong player, and she's an experienced club player, but relatively new into the international setup. But she's the kind of player that actually, with the ball in hand, could provide a platform.
So the world champions being really tested in their opening game of the Six Nations. Scarrett. Well, they're running out of real estate on this side. Amy Wilson-Hardy mindful not to get too close to the touchline. Shovelled on there from Burford. Here goes Cleal. Arm is out from the referee. They have the penalty.
Hi.
Well, they must take the opportunity surely here to tie things up.
Centre Sarah Hunter making it very obvious about her decision there, and going for the post. And again, in front of the post, we've got to take those points. And obviously, if this goes over, it becomes a level match again. But it does really feel like the momentum is turning a little bit. You know, that's when the bench is going to be used well in these games. Bringing people that can make an impact, and Burford certainly will. She would have hated being on the bench. I'm sure she would have done. It's not something she's been too used to over the years. So she needs to make an impact in the game, and she just threw out a lovely pass actually in that last passage of play.
And it's the fourth time in less than 12 months that these two sides have met. Each of those matches very, very close indeed. Starting in Vannes last year, where France clinched the Six Nations title. And it's all tied up thanks to Emily Scarrett. 13 points apiece. And we're just about to go into the final quarter. France making a change. On comes Camille Caballot. Well, it's one of the ironies, actually, if we go back 12 months when both England and France actually won 4 of their 5 games each, 8 points apiece. Had the bonus point regulation been in place, despite losing to France in that final game, England would have won the title.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting one actually, and I had a bit of a debate over lunch before the men's game about bonus points and the use of bonus points, and I certainly think they're correct in leagues when you've got a long league and a long season, and what are they going to add to the Six Nations will be interesting to see.
Crouch.
One thing that they have done which is interesting is well, this is unique, is that addition of 3 points to the side if they do perform the Grand Slam, because under the bonus point system it is possible to actually perform the Grand Slam and not actually win the championship, which is why they've done that.
Yeah, exactly. I think they worked out, right, we've got to do something to ensure a Grand Slam team wins it. It would be a strange situation otherwise, wouldn't it?
England looking to put pressure on this France line out. The captain, Gaël Mignot. Score of the second try. Well, it didn't go to the hand that it should do. Well taken by Julianery at the tail. Here goes Undier. Jade Lepesque. Good break there from the fly half, Ledouf. Finding support. And that was certainly rather clever. Edging their way towards the halfway line. Head on there from Kabalou. And preparing to make an alteration in the front row. Justine Lucas, former Loughborough student, stripped off and ready to go. She'll be coming on for Rochelle Clark in a couple of moments. France just inside the England half, but they are penalised. The tackle made, so French player being penalised there. That is the loose head, Lisa Aricastre.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for it too.
Well, fortunate for them that they've got their penalty back. They've just got to be careful, England, in defence, just around those fringes of the breakdown. A couple of times now, France, when England have rushed up in what we call some people call the guard position, either side of that breakdown in defence, rushing up, and France has seen that and then gone through the gaps. It just needs to be a little bit careful with that.
Yes, you talk about the guards, the players, they're on the fringes of the breakdown, aren't they, defending?
Absolutely, the closest player really, generally forwards, the closest player to the breakdown, and stopping exactly that, stopping anyone picking round the edges of the breakdown.
Give us an insight into the sort of communication which is going on in those positions, because players have to be talking to one another, don't they?
Absolutely key, you know, that's why people need to be so fit at this level, because you're not just running around, you're talking to each other, you need to know exactly where you are. So in that breakdown, you know, I've got guard, and people need to know what you're doing, and then that person outside, different terms, I've got bodyguard, you know where you are and who you're against.
Ball taken forward there by Marley Packer. Another couple of metres made. Here is Poppy Cleal, who's made quite an impact, literally, since arriving on the pitch in this second half. McLean on here to Burford. There's Natasha Hunt, looking for a little sniping run. Emily Scarrett, the long limbs going. There's space now and numbers out wide for England. And here goes Thompson. Well, that was a try-saving tackle in the corner. How close was that for England?
Oh, great pass from Natasha Hunt. I wasn't quite sure it was going to get to Scarrett, but lovely interplay, and she was just looking for Danielle Fanoli there, wasn't she?
Great hands again from Scarrett, and that was a tackle which saved the day. And also, let's not underestimate the contribution of Jade Lepesque, who was in the right place at the right time as well.
Absolutely, yes. Quite often a scrum half role, isn't it? That sort of covering in defence as well. They really have got to be everywhere, and she did a good job after Poumlan came with their tackle. Lepesque was there to get in the way, because if that had been a free pass through to Nolly, that would have been a definite try.
So France making a change. On comes Céline Ferrer, one of the Basque members of this France team. I say the Basque lands, that's right down in the southwest. Bayonne and Biarritz, those clubs. Céline Ferrer, who was a very close ally to the previous coach, Jean-Michel Gonzalez. Now it's the France try line which is under siege, just rumbling their way forward here, England. Pumping the knees. Can they just orchestrate it? It's gone to ground. There is the ball, but the referee has blown the whistle, and it will be a France put-in.
Oh, that's frustrating, isn't it? Because England were going forward then, but you must get the ball back. I think when the initial drive from the line out, there were just a few French bodies on the ground, and intentionally or not, it just disrupted that drive through from England.
Well, you could see from the reaction there of Gaëlle Mignot, I think this means quite a lot to her. Gaëlle Mignot, and ever present for this France side. She was part of the team which won the Six Nations last season.
Yeah. You guys, don't shift. Okay? And you guys stay straight. Okay?
But they just give up. Like, they can
Yeah.
screening bounce. You got this. Nice and square, let's have it.
So Samuel Charouk, the coach, his first game in charge. 13 points apiece.
Set.
14 minutes remain at Twickenham. Ireland at the moment, the only side with a full 5 points after that win up in Scotland last night. A little bit clumsy there from the French. Just a nudge forward.
Yeah, just trying a bit too hard in their own 22. They got the free kick from the scrum, ironically, because England were going forward, but going forward too early.
You guys, hold the weight.
Yes, the knock forward from Julie Duval, who plays her club rugby at Cannes, right up on the Normandy coast.
Step back.
Okay. Understand.
Both teams.
This next one.
Captain down on one knee, Sarah Hunter,
So number 1.
last year's World Player of the Year.
I don't know what it is. No, that's great, Chad. No, sorry, I don't know much about it.
Sarah Hunter's been playing, what, a decade or so at this level, hasn't she now?
She has. She's one of the oldies now. And when I was playing 8,
31, yes.
she played alongside me and blindside at 6. And I always say this: it was like playing alongside a brick wall. You really noticed it when you're on there, and then transferred through to the number 8 position. And she really has been a consistent performer for England. She's been the steady ship, if you like, over the last few years, and has kind of held things together.
Crouch.
What an evolution, though, we've seen from England women's rugby over the course of the last 4 years. They didn't have a full-time professional when they won the world title in Paris 4 years ago. They've now got 32 full-time contracted players.
Yeah, times really are changing, aren't they? Really positive steps for England, and a lot of work to do still, but it's just, you know, keeping the momentum going. But yeah, if you think back, you know, if I would have thought in my day that, you know, it'd be fully professional, and I wouldn't quite have believed it, and the transformation of the game over the last few years is incredible, and the number of girls that are playing rugby in schools, the number of new clubs that are emerging, and should give out a shout out to my own club, actually. Old Altamians, just starting a new club there, and lots of clubs, lots of ambitious clubs are seeing women and girls rugby as a key part of that.
Emily Scarrett, who plays her club rugby for Lichfield. This to take England in front for the first time. Well, she held her nerve very well. 16 unanswered points from England in this second half. It's been quite a comeback. France have made an alteration at tight head with Patricia Karikaburu coming on. She also from the deep southwest of France plays her club for the Lens Bern club up against the Pyrenees. The carry there from Céline Ferrer, another of the Basques here from the Bayonne club. France immediately onto the attack. They know they have to respond. There's Kadikaburu, but it's lost forward in the contact. That was very timely for England. Natasha Hunt from the sharp angle gets it away. Well, there's nobody back there. Here's the full-back, Tremoulière. Support from Ndiaye. Out there from Nadagnous, but then it's put down. And now it's the France handling, which is looking very different to the way it was at the end of the first half.
Yeah, they're not quite playing with that same confidence, are they? They're getting rattled, you know. The England team playing with this increased aggression, and France really don't like it. Just taking the eye off the ball, but that's a difficult place. We know when that ball's up high. Lovely kick through from Natasha Hunt. Fantastic kick. Chase from Emily Scarrett as well. Those two are working really hard at the moment.
Well, I guess this is what professionalism does to a side. You would expect them to come strong in the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Absolutely, their fitness has to show, doesn't it? You know, they're working hard on it. You know, we have to see the differences. You know, we have to see the difference in this investment.
Bind. Set.
So we're inside the last 10 minutes. 16 points to 13. England lead. France with 2 of the 3 tries, though.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Hold. Not square.
Well, even the scrummage has evened itself up a bit more in this second half. Katie McLean at pace there was Rachel Burford, out to Waterman, releasing Thompson on the right wing. The French defence covering across. England looking to go in for the kill here. They will have the put in.
She's underneath you, she's stuck. Going forward.
Fantastic strength there from Lydia Thompson, and we know she's got pace, but really making the inches, making the ground.
Keep coming.
Lovely pass again from Burford.
What's the problem? Not square and steady, okay? Pushing around the corner. Need to stay straight.
England making changes.
Yeah,
Vicky Fleetwood, the Saracens, coming on at hooker, replacing Amy Cockayne.
Okay.
Vicky Fleetwood's a very decent athlete. In fact, she used to be an athlete. She was a hurdles champion at school.
You stay straight as possible.
One of the best in England. Yes, she mentioned there Lydia Thompson. She was in good try-scoring form in November, wasn't she? Scored tries against New Zealand and also against Canada.
Set. Hold it. Hold. Stay in.
France certainly not enjoying the dominance in the set piece. They were. It's a penalty this time. And you have to think that it is about fitness now.
Straight down.
Emily Scarrett is calling for the kicking tee.
The one from blue. Okay.
She's been on form today with her boot, hasn't she? She's already got that one kick right out from the touchline. She's a fantastic striker of the ball, Emily Scarrett, fantastic kicker, and added to that the composure as well, which obviously is needed.
Would give some sort of daylight for England. It's right out of the middle from Scarrett. Leicestershire will be proud. It's a part of the world which over the years has produced so many outstanding male internationals. The villages around Leicester has got an England women's star of its own as well. France making changes. You can see Yana Louvoilin,
Time on.
the fly half specialist, coming on. It's Kabaloo who gets us back underway. 19 points in this second half from England. It's been a tremendous effort. McLean fires it downfield. Across comes Jessie Tremoulière. Can she get the long levers working? Looks up, finds some space. Back goes Sarah Hunter. Natasha Hunt, who's been everywhere. She must have covered an awful lot of metres over the course of the last 80 minutes or so.
Out of the 10.
That's Shannon Izar, who got the try scoring off to a start earlier today. Emily Scarrett just powering away through, fending off the defender. It was Jade Lepesque who felt the palm of the hand that time.
Leave it, you're off your feet. You're off your feet.
Burford, Waterman, Packer, trying to get it away there to Wilson Hardy, but it was slow coming to the left wing. Last 6 minutes of the match, England lead by 6. There's the clearing kick from Rivoilin. Burford, Scarrett, palms it on, creates a bit of space here for Thompson. Great tackle coming across from Shannon Izar. Just holding on there is Julianne Henry. McLean. England still have it, but France competing well.
Let it come blue!
France will have to release that ball, the player on the floor.
Release! Thank you.
Well, there is the France 22. Approaching the last 4 minutes of the match. Swung out wide, there's Waterman. On there to Thompson.
Let it go, Blue, not holding weight.
Katie McLean. England really in control. Tamara Taylor feeding the ball on. Here is Scarrett. Real chance now for Wilson Hardy. Terrific step to get inside Tremoulière. That is the cherry on the top for the women in white. In all honesty, they were very ordinary in that first 40, but they have turned it around.
They've come to life, haven't they? Lovely strong run from Emily Scarrett, and some nice footwork there from Amy Wilson-Hardy. Sometimes make things look like that quite easy out there on the wing, but she had to do the right thing, step inside, and great try for England, and I think brings a bit of relief, I think.
Amy Wilson-Hardy, her second Test match try, 4 years after her first.
She looked pretty happy with it, didn't she?
Emily Scarrett keeps her head down, slots the conversion, England away and clear now, 26 points to 13. 2.5 minutes to go, Catherine. The player of the match, one or two candidates, I suppose, on both sides.
There are, you know, in the first half, France had a good game. Isa with that interception try and did well coming in off her wing as well. Lepesca's been doing a good job at 9 as well. But England have really turned it round now, haven't they? I think Thompson's shown her strength out on the wing. Natasha Hunt has played very well at 9. I think, you know, having a really strong all-round game. But my woman of the match, I think, has to be today, has to go to Emily Scarrett. She's had a fantastic performance. She's taken on the ball tremendously well. She's been strong with her running. She's passed well when she's been under pressure. And she's had a really good game with the boot as well. She gets lots of plaudits, but she deserves them. She's had a fantastic match today.
So there is Emily Scarrett on the occasion of her 62nd match in the white jersey.
It's coming now, Amy.
Thanks, Simon.
Well, the television match official is just watching this. Well, the question is, has there been foul play? And I guess there's only one answer to that, isn't there?
Yes, and they're pretty careless and not looking at the ball at all. From the French player, and then Poppy Cleo comes down from quite a height.
Amy, we're going to show it one more time
so
at
careful
normal
with that
speed.
ball in the air. If you're not competing, if you're not up in the air as well, competing for the ball, you're putting yourself at great risk, and hopefully Poppy's okay.
Well, it's Caroline Boujard who is the French player responsible.
Yes.
She may not have meant it. It may have been unintentional on her part, but it's careless play now.
So
and after the last couple of years, international players
21.
should be so aware of that.
Number 21? No.
It's no attention, no taken.
Well, let's listen in now to Amy Perrott.
Play in the air because she lands on the side. It's a yellow card. Okay. It's dangerous. I'll give you that one.
Well, she gets yellow. She's off the rest of the match, but
We'll just take a second.
in some respects you could say a little fortunate not to be shown red. It's the right call from the referee.
Absolutely.
But had Poppy Cleo landed a little bit differently, it might have been red.
Absolutely, and Perrott just describing it there as dangerous play, and it is, I called it careless, but it is dangerous, intentional or not.
So England have made the change. Poppy Cleo has gone off for a head injury replacement, or a head injury assessment, I should say. Off she goes. On has come Zoe Aldcroft, and
there's just a lot. So
England really emptying the bench now for these last 2 minutes.
They are, aren't they? With a couple of minutes to go, I'm not sure. I find that a bit frustrating coming off the bench, but Zoe Aldcroft actually is my sort of player to watch throughout this tournament and throughout the next year. She plays 8 up at Darlington, and I've been really impressed when I've seen her at club, and she did well in the autumn, so she's my sort of a player to watch, if you like, through this tournament and over the next season.
There's Sarah Byrne coming on.
Forward off white.
She earns her 5th cap here. There you can see all the changes being made. Latoya Mason is on from the Darlington club. It has been an emphatic second half performance from England. Misfiring for the first 40. Really were on the rack, but quite a turnaround. Changes also coming from France there. Caroline Thomas, replacement hooker, is on. And those little elements, those little contests which were all going the way of France, in this second half they have been turned around.
Absolutely. It's like as we say, a game of 2 halves, Martin, but it really has, hasn't it? And I don't know what was said at half-time, and I imagine most of the talk came from the players themselves. They're the ones out on the pitch, but it was just playing with that extra bit of aggression, and talk about go forward, and it does really make a difference.
Crouch. Bind. Set. 2, 3, 4.
So the final minute. Latoya Mason. She earning her 60th cap here off the bench. Oh, Scarrett, well, she's got the Player of the Match award. I suppose you can allow yourself little knocks on like that.
Absolutely, I think it's probably possibly the first mistake that she's made today, and I think we can forgive her that one, can't we?
Scrum over here. We don't have much time. No, that's fine. Yes, first scrum. That's the sheet, that's the mark. You step off.
There's Vicky Fleetwood.
Crouch.
Plays a rugby for last year's Premiership champion Saracens.
Set. Hold.
As you said a bit earlier, though, the London club's rather overshadowed in this 23.
9.
That was a better scrum from the French. Rather more like things were in the second half, or the first half, I should say. Ball going forward there from France, and that'll bring the final whistle from Amy Perrott. But it has been your original match of 2 halves. The first one dominated by France, but England came back superbly. One win out of the way now for England. Another 4 to come between them and a Grand Slam. They've beaten France by 26 points to 13. Well, Catherine, on reflection, I guess Simon Middleton will have plenty to grumble about afterwards, but the way things were at half-time, if it had found out that the scoreline would be as it is, 26 points to 13, you might have struggled to believe it, because things just weren't happening. The set piece for England was an absolute mess in the first 40.
It was, and they were struggling to get any ball at all. I think what they just focused on the second half in that scrum was just trying to get a bit of an earlier shove on, and push that strength on slightly earlier, and that seemed to work a little bit better in that area. The delivery improved and the line out, so they were just more aggressive, you know, they were just taking the ball forward, they were closing down that space more, they were playing with much higher intent, and we say that, you know, we always talk about rugby, it's not as complicated as sometimes we like to make it out. Just play with a bit of aggression, it really works.